Hello, this is a Pacesetter training video on how to use the global changes function in Xactimate. So what global changes is a button that will pop up and allow you to basically do what it says. It'll allow you to make global changes to groups of line items, two or more line items. You can make various changes, depreciation, for instance, changing the coverage type, that type of stuff. So let's kind of look at this real quick. It's pretty easy. Again, it works with two or more line items. So if we went into an empty room here and I just put a line item in, let's just say RFG 300S. Ooh. We'll drop this in. Notice there's two line items. If I select just one of these line items, I do not get an option for global changes. It'll be some buttons that'll pop up here. But if I select both of these, two or more, now we have these buttons that come up. We can save this as a macro or select global changes. So that's just an example that you have to have two or more line items grouped together before that button will be visible. Okay? So let's delete those and let's go back to this roofing room. I've already got a roof in here with no depreciation set. So let's go change and add depreciation to a group of these line items at once. So that saves you from having to go line item at a time making changes. Global changes is very, very powerful for making quick changes to groups of line items together. So in this case, we want to depreciate the material line items only. So let's hold our control key down and we'll start selecting the line items in the group that we want to apply the depreciation to. So we do not want the tear off to be depreciated. That's labor only. So we do want the shingle material line item, the felt, ridge cap, valley, drip, flashing, all the vents, these two, satellite, dish, detach and reset, and the dumpster, no. We're not going to depreciate those. We're only depreciating material line items. So now we have a group selected. Our global changes button is visible. So let's select that. And we're set to depreciation, but keep in mind you can drop this menu down and you can make global changes to all these line items to various things. If I wanted to change the coverage, for instance, I could drop this menu down and change all of those to personal property, for instance. I say OK. And now all of the coverages that I selected will be changed to personal property. Okay. So let's go back and change that back, of course. Global changes. Let's change this to, well, sorry, we're already on coverage. Let's change back to coverage A. There we go. Now let's do that depreciation. Global changes, we're going to drop the menu down to, we want to make global changes to depreciation. We want to depreciate, in this case, by age and condition. You'll notice that we cannot put an age in here. It's grayed out. That's because this little box is checked. It says do not change age. Now I want to change the age. So I need to uncheck this box, and we'll just say it's 10 years old. We'll leave the condition at average or do not change. That's the default, is average. Depreciation type, the default setting for Xactimate for depreciation type is recoverable. We'll leave that alone, but this is where you can drop the menu down and you can change it to ACV or non-recoverable if you want to. All right, so we have everything we need. Let's say OK. And now if we look over to the right under our depreciation column, we will have the correct amount of depreciation set on those line items. One thing to remember on depreciation real quick while we're here, I think I went over this in another video, is if you look under the depreciation column and you see parentheses by any of these numbers, that means that the depreciation is set to recoverable depreciation. If we were to change that to non-recoverable, let's say that this had an endorsement on it, that made it non-recoverable, for instance, we would go select all these line items, select depreciation again, and then we would go change the depreciation type to non-recoverable, say okay, it would change the depreciation type to the correct loss settlement type. And if you'll notice, on those line items on ACV, it puts greater or less than sign brackets. So that's a quick reference. If you ever look in this column, if you see parentheses, that line item is set to recoverable depreciation. If it's got these brackets, it's set to non-recoverable depreciation. Well, that is about it on global change. It's a very powerful tool. I recommend you use it as often as you can. It's a great time saver. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next video. If you have any questions, certainly always contact your manager or claim supervisor. You have a great day.